Welcome to HMS, let the power flow. Feel the rhythm in your veins. Every rapid night's your flame.
Alright, so in this next video we're going through sleep, nutrition and hydration and how these things contribute not only to the recovery of athletes but also how they can enhance the performance of athletes. And I'm basically going to go through the benefits of each, the guidelines for applying each, and basically programs and routines that you can do to make sure that these things are adhered to. Because remember, adherence is the number one thing that we all need for continual progress. So the first one we're going through is sleep, and sleep is so important. More important than you realize it. And trust me, as teenagers who probably don't get enough sleep, enhancing your sleep, not only your sleep quality, but your sleep amount of time, and actually trying to align your sleep with circadian rhythms of the sun, it's going to be the best things for you. But no one's going to listen to me because you all like to stay up to midnight on your phones anyway. But moving on. Benefits of sleep. We've got restoration and recovery of soft and hard tissues in the body, enhancing cognitive function, so your ability to like thought process and plan and sort of see actions and consequences. Mood regulation. If you find yourself being a little bit cranky or not as resilient, then you're probably fatigued and tired and haven't slept a lot. Enhanced muscle coordination, reaction time, balance improvements, growth and repair of muscle tissues, especially if you are someone who's doing heavy weight training. You're not going to grow any muscle if you're not sleeping enough. Doesn't matter how much protein you take. Reduce inflammation. And that's because you have an improved healing process when you're sleeping, and improved focus and concentration. There are no basic downfalls of getting enough sleep, okay? There are downfalls of having too much sleep, but at this point, we're just looking at the effects of not having enough sleep. And I bet just about everyone watching this could probably benefit from one or more of these things. So get more sleep. Okay, guidelines for sleep. So what are the recommended guidelines for sleep, all right, if you are someone who's serious about health and performance as an athlete, okay? So we've got this QQRT protocol, which is probably the easiest way to remember the 4 things that you should be talking about when you talk about sleep guidelines. Quantity of sleep. So how much sleep should you get? 7 to 10 hours. It differs for different people. As you get older, you do need less sleep, okay? However, as you get older, you also generally find yourself in a position where you can have daytime naps, and that can contribute to your 7 to 10 hours of sleep. So for example, if an older athlete can only get 7 hours at nighttime because they're also looking after their family or whatever, but they can also get a half-hour nap in the afternoon, like early afternoon, like 2, 3 o'clock-ish, then they get 7.5 hours, and that's going to be better than the 7. Quality of sleep. So when we're looking at sleep quality, what we're really looking at there is, for the purpose of this discussion, continuous sleep, okay? We're not going to be looking at REM cycles and all that kind of stuff. However, if you can just get 7 to 10 hours of mostly continuous sleep with minimal wakes, that's going to be heaps better quality than if you're waking up frequently, okay? So 2 people may get the same amount of sleep actual, but if one person gets it with 1 wake and the other person gets it with 5 wakes, well, the person who only woke up once is going to have a better quality. And better quality sleep is going to lead more into the benefits that we went on the previous screen. So looking at, repair, recovery, reduce inflammation, mood, etc., okay? Regularity of sleep. So when we're talking about regularity, we're talking about consistent rise and fall times. So the time you go to bed, as in like go to bed to sleep, not go to bed to scroll on your phone for 2.5 hours, that doesn't count as bedtime, okay? Lights out bedtime with no devices should be consistent every single night of the week, even on the weekends, okay? And your rising time should be consistent, okay? Every single morning of the week, even on the weekends, okay? 30-minute window here and there, absolutely okay. Okay, so for example, if you trained 4 days a week and you need to get up at 5 a.m. to train, on the other 3 days, you can get up at 5:30. That's okay, okay? We're not drastically changing it, okay? But but that consistent schedule is best. And if you don't have a consistent sleep schedule, then that is going to completely mess with your ability to heal, function cognitively, all right, focus in class, mood regulation, all that kind of stuff we went through on the previous slide. And the best way to get into a good regular sleep pattern is setting an alarm for the morning early. If you set your alarm in the morning early, you do that for 2 or 3 days in a row. So let's say you set your alarm for 5:30 or 5 a.m. After 2 or 3 days, you get to like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and you are exhausted because your body knows that it has to get up at 5 a.m. and your body will put yourself into a sleeping state, and then you'll go to bed because you'll be like, oh, I really want to watch this show, but I'm so tired. And you go to bed and then you get up at 5 a.m. and then all of a sudden, like after a week, it's normal routine. Okay, it's not hard to reset your sleeping regularity and your timing, but it does take a couple of days of adjustment. And then obviously timing with the sleep, there's more and more research going into this. Trying to align it better with the sun seems to enhance quality of sleep and also enhance the quantity of sleep that you get, okay? So, 8:30, 9 o'clock till, 5, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the mornings is generally a good guideline, especially if you're someone who's taking it serious. Oh man, okay, so as a 41-year-old male who has struggled with sleep for a lot of my own life, and I've had sleep studies and stuff done, which I'll talk to you about in the next part, I've gotten pretty good at knowing what's good for sleep and what's not for sleep, all right? I could give you 2-3 screens of all the things that you could do to improve your sleep quality. But if you can remember these 5, I think that's a great place, and you probably won't need to remember more than 5 for your HSC anyway. So things that enhance our sleep quality in our routine and planning to get good sleep. Number 1, limit caffeine intake after 12 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? So caffeine does, in some people, especially when it's taken in like coffee form, don't ask me why. There'll be a reason why coffee works different to like a caffeine tablet, but anyway, can have like a 12-hour half-life, meaning that it loses half of its effectiveness after 12 hours. So if you're having it at 12 o'clock, there can still be caffeine in your system when you're trying to sleep. If you have it later than 12, like personally, if I have anything after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not going to sleep till about 11:30 that night. And I don't know why. It's just my body. That's how it is. I know some people, like my mother-in-law, she has a coffee in bed at night and then goes to sleep. Amazing. All right. Very impressive. I certainly don't do that. Low lights in the evening. Okay. So as you get closer towards, so let's say if we're aiming for like a night, for the purpose of this, let's say we're aiming for a 9 p.m. shut eye. Okay. So at about 8 p.m., we're going to dim all our lights, okay? Or maybe we'll turn the ceiling lights off and we'll just use lamps. Or if you've got dimmers on your lights, you can turn them down. You want to make the environment as dark as possible. I probably should write another guideline. Oh, see, I already want to write another guideline, but I don't want to give you too much. Here, I'll write it. Cooler room. So, about an hour before sleep, you dim all your lights and you start cooling down your room where you're going to be sleeping, okay? Conversely to that, to enhance your sleep quality, that part of that starts in the morning. So remember how I said setting your alarm early is one of the best things you can do to get into a good cycle. And as soon as you wake up, you should hit yourself with bright lights or ideally sunlight for 10 or 15 minutes as soon as you wake up. That's why one of the best things you can do for health and longevity is you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do, you have a big glass of water and you just go for a 10-minute walk around the block, okay? Don't need food or anything like that, but you get some sunlight exposure into your eyes, wakes you up for the day, and yeah, you may be walking around like a zombie for 10 minutes around the block, but you watch, after a few days, you'll look forward to getting up and going for your little 10-minute walk. You want to be having a warm bath or a shower 30 minutes to an hour before bed, and what that's actually going to do is it's going to rise your body temperature, but because it's only a temporary rise, your temperature will then crash. And to get into good sleep, you need to be cool as you're sleeping. So warm shower causes your body temperature after you get out of the shower to fall in conjunction with the cool room, means that you will go into deep sleep sooner. And finally, I did just have limit fluids, but food as well. About an hour or two before bed, you want to start limiting those things, okay? Particularly fluids, because If you are having frequent wakes to go to the toilet, well, that's going to impact your sleep quality. But also, digestion of food is something that can prevent you from going into deep sleep. So you just stay in this sort of light level of sleep. So you want to sort of limit major amounts of food and drink 1 to 2 hours before bed so that you are sort of going to sleep on that empty tummy. Not empty, but it's pre-digested. Okay, so the last thing on sleep is looking at how do we monitor sleep, okay? How do we know whether we're getting good sleep, bad sleep, etc., okay? So these days we do have lots of wearable devices, okay? So like my watch will track my sleep, QQRT. You can get rings that track your sleep, QQRT. But also now we have external devices that actually go in the bedroom to help you track your sleep. So I know that some like the Google Home or the Alexas, things can track your sleep if it's next to your bed. But then we've also got devices that you use directly with the body, such as bed covers and like a CPAP machine, which I'll talk about in a sec. They can all monitor your sleep, QQRT, and make suggested changes. Okay, so like my watch may like, hey, you didn't get enough sleep last night. Try going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Or they can regulate aspects of your sleep, such as these external devices. So for example, when I talk about bed covers, there's something called an 8 sleep cover. So it goes over like a fitted sheet and it will regulate your body temperature.
This is Pod 5, the first fully immersive sleep system. Intelligent, adaptive, effortless. It doesn't replace your bed, it transforms it. Pod 5 listens and responds to your needs in real time, adjusting temperature, elevation, and sound while you sleep. Built to give you all-night comfort with an adaptive sleep service that fits onto any mattress to personalize temperature, so you and your partner sleep just the way you like. Pod 5 features a new hydro-powered blanket that wraps you in full-body immersive temperature, giving you double the cooling and heating coverage. No more overheating, cold wake-ups, or blanket wars. Just deep, uninterrupted sleep. Plus, a base that lifts to automatically ease snoring, shifts to zero gravity for full body restoration, and now features integrated surround sound to help you fall asleep and stay asleep longer. Select how you would like to unwind, with white noise, nature sounds, or exclusive content from Dr. Andrew Huberman. And when morning comes, no jarring alarms, just warmth, a soft vibration, and gentle sounds, waking you when you're ready the way nature intended it to be. 3 elements, infinite personalizations, giving you exceptional sleep without exception. Contactless sensors in the pod track your heart rate, breathing, sleep stages, and more. And it uses artificial intelligence to go beyond just tracking. It learns from your data and optimizes your environment in real time to keep you in deep sleep for longer. The new Health Check is a breakthrough in passive preventative health. Without any wearables, the pod quietly monitors cardiovascular and respiratory health during sleep. Using clinical-grade precision, it leverages the hours that you spend on your bed to conduct a review of your health every night. Designed for anyone who won't settle for just okay sleep. This is Pod 5, the only way you should sleep.
So I spoke earlier about you needing a cool body temperature to get into deep REM sleep and stay there, okay? Because actually when you wake up in the morning, your body temperature rises as you get closer toward your waking time, and that's something that actually brings you out of sleep. So if you're constantly hot in the night, that's something that's going to constantly wake you up. So the 8 sleep cover will monitor your body temperature, and it will make it cooler if you're getting hot, or it will make it warmer if you're cold, or it's near your waking time, okay? So that's something that it will just do without you knowing and helps improve the quality of your sleep. Also, some people require a CPAP machine. So CPAP machines are designed for people that get sleep apnea. So apnea is when you stop getting oxygen through. That can happen because you've got like a low tongue, or maybe you've got a heavy chest, or any structure here in your respiratory system is collapsing, stopping air going, or adequate air, all right? And then you sort of go, and you shock yourself awake to get a big breath, and then you go back to sleep again. So it's like you may not even wake up when it happens, okay? So a lot of people that have sleep apnea don't actually fully wake up, but it's that little disturbance that is enough to cause fragmented sleep, so constant wakes in the sleep, and therefore you get bad sleep quality. So you may get 10 hours of sleep and you wake up and you feel exhausted all the time. And you're like, I'm getting so much sleep. Why am I so tired? Well, you may not be breathing while you're sleeping. All right, so a lot of people have to sleep with CPAP machines. So what that will do is if it detects that there is getting a lack of oxygen going in, it will basically push oxygen into the respiratory tract, and therefore you get enough, so therefore you don't wake up and you get a better quality sleep. A lot of athletes who don't even have sleep apnea actually get a CPAP machine and they sleep with it on because they know that having the right amount of oxygen in their body while sleeping is going to enhance the quality and therefore enhance recovery and performance and yada, yada, yada. If you are concerned about your sleep, you can get a sleep study done. So you see your GP and then they'll refer you to a specialist and you get a sleep study done, okay? I did have this done down at Warners Bay Private about, I want to say 5 years ago now. Interesting experience. They basically deprive you of sleep to get a sleep study done, I know, right? So you rock up in the evening after having your normal day and you've got to stay in like a bright room. What did I do? I was in like a bright room till like 10 o'clock at night. And then they come in and they're like, okay, we're going to see you try and get some sleep now. And they turn all the lights out and they basically put a timer on for about 20 minutes. And ideally, most people would crash and they'd go like straight into sleep because they're so tired. But then after 20 minutes, regardless of what happens, whether you sleep or not, they come and wake you up and then they've got to have the bright light on again for another hour. And then they come in, they do it for 20 minutes and they keep doing that all night long, okay? And what they're looking for is that every single time they come in, because they're depriving you of sleep, you should be pretty much crashing and going straight into deep sleep. And if you're not, then they know that there's a problem with your sleep. Yeah, interesting experience. Anyway, that's the end of sleep. So, in typical fashion, the initial plan was to film sleep, nutrition, and hydration all in one video, but I've just done like 20 minutes on just sleep. I'm very passionate about sleep. So I think we'll end that there, and then I will do nutrition in maybe nutrition and hydration, because I already covered hydration a little bit in the other video. We'll try and do nutrition and hydration together in the next video. Thanks.